Hey everyone! So lots of people ask me how I learned how to play and sing at the same time, and the truth is there's no rules and I'm not a coach or anything, but I decided that today's video is basically gonna be me sharing with you guys what works for me, how I learned to do that, and the steps I take whenever I'm learning how to play and sing a new song. So yeah, these are my tips. Tip number one, keep it simple. If you're writing your own songs like I do, it's very important to remember that you're gonna be doing like 2 or 3 different duties at the same time. In my case, singing, playing the bass, and my stage performance are all equally important. So what I do is I just keep it simple. I don't do like lots of complicated stuff with vocals, neither on bass, and I don't jump around, you know, like or whatever during my performances, because I know all 3 of them are gonna be working together live, and I wanna make sure I deliver it well for you guys when I'm on stage. So the easiest way to do it is keeping it simple. And if you're learning a song, the tip is the same. Start simple. If you start off with a very complicated song, you're definitely gonna get frustrated. Tip number 2 is learn your songs. Memorize your songs. I know it sounds silly, but this is actually the most important step in my opinion, because when you're willing to perform both singing and playing at the same time, you gotta understand that sometimes one of them will go to autopilot mode while you're doing the other one. So what I do is I make sure I memorize and can sing everything on the song, like every note, every lyric and everything, and I can play everything pretty clean and smooth, and I make sure that I can play and sing this song like separately while wondering and thinking about other stuff. The more you memorize a song to the point that you can actually do it while thinking of other stuff, the easier it will be when you try to combine them. So this is really important, because live, what I do is whenever there's a tricky part to do on vocals, I put bass on autopilot. And whenever there's a tricky part on bass, I put vocals on autopilot. And in order to do that, you need to know the song by heart, like I mean it. So it will help it flow naturally. Whenever I'm focusing on vocals, the bass is just flowing and I don't even have to think about that. So, and in order to do that, memorize them separately. That's really important. Is where we're combining singing and playing for the first time on our journey here. And this step consists of dubbing the song. So whenever I'm sure that I actually memorized singing and playing the song, what I do is I start playing the song and singing it, but with no sound at all. And this is really important. So what I do is I just dub the song while playing it. So I'm basically playing and dubbing the song. Why this is important? It helps me getting used to the tempo. It helps me identifying which tempos are gonna be conflicting when you combine singing and playing. So it's really important that you start off by dubbing the song before actually singing it. Tip number 4 consists of starting to sing the song, but not actually singing, not with your regular screaming voice, but rather with your regular speaking voice, if that makes sense. So whenever you're comfortable with tempo, it's start vocalizing your song. How are you gonna do that? You just don't use your screaming or your singing voice. You just use your regular speaking, talking voice. It will sound kind of like this, and it sounds a bit funny, but it's really helpful. So it will be like, from the dust be reborn, from the dust gloriously ascend. You're not adding details or anything. You're just like singing the song with your regular speaking voice. This will help you a lot, because adding melodies is really tricky, because most definitely you're gonna be singing different melodies than from the ones you're playing. Focus on the most difficult parts. So after applying all the details, you know, like all the nuances I talked about earlier, you'll see, you're definitely gonna see that there's gonna be many parts where you're gonna get stuck, where you're gonna think like, what the did I put this and this together? And it's super natural. It's always gonna happen. Even when you're experienced on that, there's always gonna be that part on that song that it's harder. What I do is repetition. I get that part and then I start repeating until it flows naturally. Okay, because if you're playing that one part and then you commit the mistake and then you're like, yeah, I'll come back later, it's not gonna help. So just repeat that part over and over and over again until it gets easier. Tip number 6, don't be afraid of making it simpler in case it's really needed. Some people might think that this is kind of cheating, but truth is, in my opinion, if in order for you to get on stage and, you know, like deliver like a good live thing, and you feel that there's a little part that would help you out if it was like slightly simpler, don't be afraid to do so. Of course, like, don't record stuff you can't actually play live. But what I mean is that if you record something that later on you thought, if I did this, it would be a bit simpler for me, don't be afraid to do so. If it's just a small adjustments, it's totally acceptable. If it will help you get on stage and deliver it more naturally, don't be afraid to do so. I do that sometimes. And our final tip number 7, is the most important one, is understand that mistakes are part of the process. There's no journey in life we can do without committing mistakes, and it's the same with the learning journey. There's no way, like even if you're experienced, that you're gonna start learning a song and you're gonna do it perfectly at once, you know, it's just impossible. Even I've been doing this for like a decade now, and still whenever I'm learning a new song, it's hard because it's just new stuff to your brain. So I took a while to actually learn how to play and sing Crypta song at the same time, although I thought simple from the beginning, from when I was actually starting to write the song, but still it takes a while. So there's no shortcuts, there's no easy roads. You're gonna have to do it, and you're gonna commit lots of mistakes. So this is it. I hope you liked my tips. They've been working really well for me over the last decade. And and very important thing to remember, don't try to sing and play a song simultaneously like at first. It's really difficult. It can be really frustrating. But following the steps, and you can come up with your own steps and tips, but following like steps, going little by little, this is really helpful. And remember that in music, it's really hard to get where you want without lots of practicing. So it might be really hard at first, but if you have like a good practice routine, and if you follow these steps, I think it might work out. So if you decide to try them out, please share on socials, tag me. I'll be really glad to see you trying that out. So yeah, I hope it works out. Bye bye. Thank you. See you all.